Talking to Al after practice, 3 goals in the first game, 3 goals in the second game. He wants to see this to be, more of a 4 to 5 goal offense. That's where he'd feel more. We all would feel more comfortable.
I mean, we talked about that at the end of the season. They got to be a defensive team first because that's what they are. That's what they do well. They can't be an offensive team first. It has not worked all year. They're not good enough. They're not disciplined enough for that.
But can this team get to 4 to 5 goals
if they get
per game against this rush team?
If they get greasy goals.
Dirty goals.
Dirty goals. If they get dirty goals in front, which was what the game-winning goal was in Game 2, then they have a chance. I don't think they can depend on scoring 4 to 5 goals a game. They haven't been able to do that all year, so why should they suddenly be able to do that now?
Does it seem like we argue this point every year about the playoffs? It's about the gritty goals. Because I always remember, Brad McMillan, in the regular season, he's throwing punches, he's, getting majors, everyone's excited about that. But when he got to the playoffs, man, he would get gritty and would score because he was not afraid to sacrifice his body in the front of the net.
That's right. It's about endurance, and it's about taking the hits to make the play. It's about taking the hits to make the play more than it's about giving the hits in sometimes. It's about enduring. It's about it's about surviving and just and playing with the injuries and ignoring them and that kind of thing. It's much more gritty, much less pretty. I mean, I'm going to write that down.
That's perfect headline for the News Sentinel.
But it really is. I mean, it really is about getting your nose dirty. I mean, that's why Brett Smith won a championship last year, because he's really good at that, that kind of thing.
Ciro did a good job of it as well.
Job, yeah.
It doesn't hurt that he
Tommy Mealy
was
was really something in the 2 games up there. He didn't play a lot, but it's like you can sense that Tommy's going to get more playing time the longer the series goes, because he's already got a good relationship going with a couple of those rush defensemen. He's just been knocking them around.
The last thing I really want to touch on is the format of the playoffs, because you look at the 2-3-1-1. Now that we're 2 games into it, and the Comets have won 1, is it easy to be less critical of that, or is there a bigger advantage to the home ice team than we originally thought, given right now they're going to play 3 in a row at home, and it's going to be a long stretch because you're talking Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday.
Right. I think it's irrelevant. I don't think it matters with these 2 teams where they play. And I also, after doing the research, the Comets have had 5 chances over the years to play 3 playoff games in a row at home. They've only swept them all once. I mean, that's really hard to do. And I don't think, I said before the series, I think each team's going to win 1 on the other team's home ice. And I just, now it's to the point where Rapid City has to win 2, though, to win this series, if they're going to hold serve. And that's what's hard.
You feel like that could happen? Or?
I feel like it could happen, sure. Like I said, I don't think it matters where these teams play. I just think they're too evenly matched. They're 2 distinctive styles, with the Comets with the speed edge, the rush with the size and the hitting, and they rarely turn the puck over. And they turn the puck over a lot less than the Comets do, but they have a harder time getting through the Comets' neutral zone trap.
One of the weird things is that, we kind of always lined it up like it was going to be the Comets maybe in the second round against Evansville. And Missouri blew the doors off.
I called that one too.
See, this is why he's the beat writer, and I'm just the guy that talks about stuff.
I
mean, they're playing well.
They're playing very well. They got great goaltending, and they have veteran forwards who can score, and they've got Tristan Llewellyn, who's playing fantastic for them.
He was in camp with the Comets.
They were the hottest team down the stretch in the conference. I mean, Tristan was who they traded for Jerry Festa. And it worked out great for both teams that way. But I thought Evansville was out of gas at the end of the season. Their travel schedule was just insane. They went to Wichita and Texas and then home and had to start on a Wednesday night. They had no recovery time at all.
Surprised that it was 4-0 though?
No, I said they'd win in 5.
Okay, so you were right on it.
Yeah, I just had a sense, and I just really respect, I think whoever comes out of this series, and I don't think this series is determined yet at all just because the Comets won a road game. I don't think they're looking at it that way. It'll be 6 or 7 games in the next round from whichever team comes out. It'll be a long series.
All right.
Those are really good. All that's left are really good teams.
That's when you get a format where only 4 teams, the top 4 teams get in, the playoffs become a lot tougher sledding. There's no teams you can overlook.
The other thing is, too, Glenn, is the officiating makes a huge difference, more of a difference than in the regular season.
Well, it sounded like you were not a huge fan of the officiating in the first game.
I wasn't. And it was the same guy for the second game, and he called a completely different game. He called more playoff hockey. He called fouls that were directly as a result of turnovers or puck possession or scoring chances, and that's all he called. First game, he called it like a regular season game. He called this here, this there, and there were calls on both teams that were non-factors. They should not have been called. They should have been no harm, no foul type of calls. I mean, Dave Grimson knocked over Frankie DeAngelis once after Frankie passed the puck. In the regular season, that's nothing. He called a minor. And there were a lot of calls like that just didn't make any sense. But when you have two teams with such different contrasting styles, that's where the officiating is huge. Because the Comets, they like to clutch and grab a little bit, and obviously the Rush do as well with their slower defense. You've got to. It's really going to be interesting to see who calls it and how they call it for the next couple games.
And we'll be out there Wednesday, Thursday, and definitely on Sunday as the Comets look to take down the Rapid City Rush. It should be a very interesting,
fun games to watch.
Yeah, very interesting matchups throughout this entire series. All right, for Blake in the News Sentinel, he's Blake. I don't know what I was going to say there. I'm Glenn, and we'll see you next week as we talk Comets playoff hockey.